FCC Chair Brendan Carr joins us now to discuss all of this. So thank you so much for joining us. What can this executive order do to stop this lunacy in creeping into AI?
Yeah, President Trump's AI action plan is a real significant win for the country. President Trump has said that he wants the U.S. to have the gold standard AI technology. And key to that, as you indicate, is making sure there is not any ideological bias in there. And we see how that can play out. Just look to China. China's version of AI is deeply embedded with the CCP's ideology. So, for instance, if you were to ask their AI what happened in Tiananmen Square, they would say nothing, it was a fine day. If you ask them how the Uyghurs are doing, they said they're doing really well. They're getting a great education in a camp-like setting. And so we not only want to lead the world, but we want to make sure that this technology reflects reality and doesn't get indoctrinated with either this CCP version of ideology or here in the U.S. woke. And so that's what they are putting forward. And it's a really good step forward for America, because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence, AI, is the new technology front. And it's a race between U.S. and China. And President Trump is setting us up to win.
Brendan, this is great. I'm glad that the government and this administration is taking this on. But shouldn't we first start with Wikipedia? Because I think Wikipedia is feeding a lot of this stuff into the AI model or whatever. And Wikipedia, I mean, you can't trust anything on there. And yet young people take all the leftist stuff they get in Wikipedia as, you know, the truth.
Yeah, look, it's unbelievable. There's a lot of work we have to do to sort of restore, fact-based reporting, whether it's Wikipedia or in our space at the FCC in traditional broadcast media. And we're starting to see some changes there. I mean, again, if you step back, President Trump ran for election based on this idea that whether it's broadcast media or otherwise, they no longer get to dictate the narrative in this country. And for too long, politicians sat back, and whether it was content on Wikipedia or content on NBC, they sort of work within the confines of the political narrative set by them. And President Trump said, no, we're going to take it directly to the people. And we're starting to see significant changes. There's more to do, but I'm pleased with the trajectory that President Trump has us.
So really quick, the brilliance of this executive order by President Trump is it goes to the underlying supply of what is going into these large language models, the LLMs. How do we make sure that these tech companies actually follow the underlying premise of this? Because they're lying to us a lot about the power of AI. They're deceiving us about how far AI is advanced. How do we make sure there is teeth behind this executive order so that the OpenAIs and Microsoft and Gemini are not secretly building a woke superweapon through artificial intelligence?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's why we are going to be taking a trust but verify approach here. And so as these entities contract with the federal government, there's going to be mechanisms in place to make sure they're living up to their terms of the bargain. And for the rest of the world, kind of it's a time for choosing, particularly Europe. Are they going to sort of follow the U.S. and our approach and our leadership in AI? They're welcome to join us. Or are they going to go down that different approach with China? But we have to have mechanisms built in as we do to make sure that technology companies are living up to their end of the bargain here.
How does it work? I mean, how do you actually, this is a massive amounts of information. How are you making sure that what Charlie's saying, you're not feeding it with false or woke information?
Yeah, there's a lot of steps we can do that are sort of put out there in the AI action plan as they're going through contracting with the government to do this. But there's other stuff across the board that we need to do as well. For instance, the FCC has Section 230 authority where, we're only supposed to have these special immunities and protections for social media companies that engage in good faith content moderation. And so there's work to do across all of these fronts to hold these entities accountable. Look, I'm glad that Facebook and others have recently come around and said they're going to embrace, free speech, diversity of opinion. But that's not necessarily enough. We got to really keep an eye on this.
Yeah, I don't trust any of them when they say things like that. But thank you so much for being on this, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.